Epic rap battles of history. Barbie versus Oppenheimer. Begin.
I'm a Barbie girl in the
Alright, I think that's enough for an intro. That was pretty pathetic. Today's the day. The day is here. Barbenheimer is among us. Upon us. Among us? No. Barbenheimer is upon us. There are some people saying to watch Oppenheimer first, get this really intense cinematic experience, this very dramatic experience, and then chase that with Barbie and kind of use that as a palate cleanser. But I don't know. I did the opposite of that. I watched Barbie first and then Oppenheimer. And my reasoning for this was because I wanted to leave the theater inspired with the feeling left by a movie that I would want to make. And so I wanted to make sure that once Oppenheimer was done, I could just sit with what I was going to watch. So that's the reason why I did Oppenheimer last and Barbie first. The really fun thing about being at the Barbie theater was that it was packed with people and you couldn't quite pin down the demographic that was there. There were little girls in their princess costumes and their parents, obviously. There were couples there in attendance. There were like different groups of like bro dudes, like just kind of like shooting the shit and having fun in the back of the theater. There were flocks of like girlfriends with their like pink cowboy hats. It was a little bit of everybody involved and congregating in this theater, which is really, really funny. People were reacting and laughing and cheering. When Ryan Gosling first came on screen, came up on screen. I am 12 years old. It was a movie for everyone. I very soon came to find out, not only from the audience, but from the actual movie itself. People were laughing, having a good time. I think a couple people made little jokes here and there. There was like one or two jokes that I heard people say. But people were engaging with the material. I don't know, but something about watching Barbie, it felt to me like the old school, I'm 22, like old school movie theater going, at least what I felt like when I would go to the theaters with my parents. People were there and having a good time, but it was just a movie for everybody. Again, the little girls in their Barbie princess outfits to the bro dudes in the back and everybody in between. It was a movie that everyone was just having a really, really great time enjoying. That was a lot of fun. There I am. I went back home, ate something really quick, and rushed back to the theater to meet my buddy Eros Swole. We sat in to watch Oppenheimer. 10:30 in 70mm IMAX. That movie was incredible. Let's talk about classic Christopher Nolan time structure. We all know he loves fucking around with the time in his movies and telling the stories not linearly per se, but he likes jumping around from timeline to timeline, past and present and future. He likes doing that with a lot of his movies, and Oppenheimer was a little like, okay, what's going on? Because we jump from this timeline, then to this timeline, back here, this point in the story, and we do that throughout the whole movie. But then as things start to puzzle together pretty quickly, you start to understand where this is going, and you start to at least have questions about how's that going to resolve. And it's really, really fascinating. It's a lot of fun just how the information is revealed in that movie. I loved it. It was a lot of fun. It was incredible. And the ending, the way that he ends his movies is just my favorite, because you're left there just sitting and just processing what you just went through. And yeah, Oppenheimer was an incredible experience. I'm going to go back very soon to watch it again. It's just, I need to watch it again. One thing that I forgot to mention was that the scene that led up to the Trinity test, the actual explosion, it was like 10 minutes. It felt like 15 minutes, really, where things were building up and leading up. And I cannot exaggerate this, but I had a physical reaction to that tension. I mean, I could feel the blood coursing through my veins, the hair popping up on my arm. Like I felt my heart sort of pounding. I could hear my own breathing in my ears. And I won't talk about the actual explosion in case you haven't seen it, and what that scene was like. But oh my god, it was such an amazing creative choice to approach the detonation scene the way that it was approached. I couldn't help but be excited about Barbenheimer Day, especially being there. The concession lines were full. People were crowding around and having a good time, playing the arcade in the AMC theater, dressed up in their Barbie outfit. There was a guy that was sitting next to me dressed in a full suit and hat and vest. What is it called? A pocket watch? People were coming out for this really fun, shared, mutual experience in the movie theater. And I couldn't help but be really optimistic about the movie theater. I love going to the movie theater. I think it's such an amazing experience to be able to sit in a room where the only thing that matters for those 2 or 3 hours is the light bouncing on that screen, and the stories being told. I have no doubts that this is going to be a very successful box office weekend for both movies. I think this Barbenheimer moment is a really fantastic thing for the world of the movie theater and cinema as a whole. It's a reminder that we care about great movies, we care about great stories, whether they be fun and heavy comedies like Barbie, or if they are intense dramas and thrillers like Oppenheimer. We care about movies that are gonna allow us to have fun or move us or give us perspective, and they don't need to follow a formula. They don't need to follow some already proven successful movie franchise, and not every movie has to become a new movie franchise. I swear to God, if you make another movie about toys, if they make a Polly Pocket movie or some shit like that, or a Club Penguin movie, I'm gonna lose my goddamn marbles. I swear to God. Anyway, Barbenheimer was a good thing to happen to movie theaters and movies and the film culture in general, and I really am excited to see what these filmmakers do next and what Hollywood does next as far as creatively. But first, pay your writers. Okay, that's my video. Goodbye.